الحمد لله الحمد لله وحده والصلاة والسلام على من لا نبي بعده أما بعد أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم.
لا جناح عليكم
لا جناح عليكم
لا جناح عليكم
لا جناح عليكم
إن طلقتم النساء
إن طلقتم النساء
ما لم تمسوهن
ما لم تمسوهن
أو تفرضوا لهن فريضة
أو تفرضوا لهن فريضة.
لا no yeah, so there's no junah is guna no sin alaykum upon you. There's no sin on you upon you in it means if طلقتم divorce if you divorce النساء women your women ma lam as long as ma lam tamassu lam is no as well similar meaning do not that meaning massa yamassu means to touch tamassuhunna if you have not touched them you divorce them and you have not touched them meaning you have not had the relationship with them or tafridu you have prescribed you have stipulated lahunna for them farida here means something which is must. What is farida? For something which is prescribed. So what is prescribed in nikah? Mahar. What is prescribed in dowry? That is the only wajib, yeah? So that's fard upon you. A farida upon you as nikah, doing the nikah is mahar. So there is no blame upon you if you divorce your women, any women, you have not touched nor specified for them an obligation, and that obligation is mahar. Meaning, you had the nikah done, ijab al-qabul. How does the nikah happen? When the person proposes, it could be wife or the husband, whoever proposes, the other person says, I accept with certain condition. One is that you would give this mahar to me. Sometimes you have stipulated mahar, sometimes you forget to do that. People sometimes don't remember. It doesn't matter. That is already given. There is a mahar, we call mahar misl. So if they forget to stipulate mahar, it is still done, which is mahar misl. Mahar misl is similar mahar to the family, whatever is the standard of that lady. So the bride, her sister, her aunts, mum, whatever was their mahar, rough about, because that is the family standard. According to that family, very poor family, obviously they would have very little mahar generally. High class, upper class, they would have different mahar. So whatever is the standard, ma'roof, the common standard mahar among them, it could be a little bit above and below, but within that range. And that is stipulated. It's called mahari mithl, mahar mithl. Okay. So if you had that nikah done, but before you do the rukhsati, the consummation, she has not come to your house yet. You've just done the nikah. And before going to that marriage final departure of the lady to your house or coming to your house, you divorce her. So that is permissible. You can do that. So this is what Quran is saying. Allah is saying there's no sin, no blame on you if you divorce them before you touch them. Meaning before having the relationship, you divorce them. You can do that. Or you divorce them before you stipulated the mahar. So if not stipulated the mahar, that's fine. You can still divorce them. Come to that. وَمَتِّعُوهُنَّ عَلَى الْمُوسِعِ قَدَرُهُ وَعَلَى الْمُقْتِرِ قَدَرُهُ. And matta'a, yumatti'u, tamti'a means to benefit someone, give someone, gift someone. So hunna, them. So if you've divorced without touching them, or before you stipulated the mahar, you had the nikah and you then divorced in front of two witnesses at least. Ijab and qabul done, nikah is done. But you did not stipulate the mahar and you did not touch, or either or both, whichever. Then وَمَتِّعُوهُنَّ, so give them a gift or something. عَلَى الْمُوسِعِ, musi' is someone who has wus'at. Someone who has wus'at means he is able to provide. He is rich. He has got, yes, he has got some wus'at. قَدَرُهُ, he has got, according to his standard, he will give the portion. A rich man should do better. وَعَلَى الْمُقْتِرِ, and muqtar is someone, the muqtir is someone who has got less. He's like, not well-to-do. He hasn't got much wealth with him. He's little bit, or frugal, simple, not much wealth in his account. So qadaru, according to his standard, he could do a portion as well, but according to his standard. Okay. But give them a gift of compensation, because you've divorced them. They were with you. At least they were connected to you. Could be a month, few months, a year, few years. However long that period was, now you're divorcing them. So they had, a bit of a trouble to go through. Maybe they never wanted to be with you. That's their problem. But you are the one who decided to divorce them. So they had that connection. You've, divorced them. So give them a gift as a compensation, because there must be ideally a reason to do so. Without reason, no one should divorce anyone. So if you've done it, so then, do a compensation, a gift. For wealthy person, according to his capacity and capability, and for the poor, according to his ability. Means whatever you could do, give them. Give them something. So now you understand, divorce is not a plaything. You are divorcing for a reason, and whatever reason that is, you still give them gift. That's how beautiful this religion is.
Is there any stipulated amount that's
No, up to you. But scholars would have different ways. Some say, 2 pieces of cloth. Some would say, give like, little bit, a portion of whatever you want to give. Doesn't have to be standard. Whatever you feel comfortable, whatever is the standard, a norm, as a token of respect, honor.
From the woman's side, can they demand something?
No, it's not fard to give them, but it's like, that's a good character to do so. We'll come to that. مَتَاعًا بِالْمَعْرُوفِ
متاع بالمعروف
حقا على المحسنين.
حقا على المحسنين.
Mata'an, again, the benefit, the gift, a provision, bil ma'ruf, in fairness, haqqan, a duty upon the muhsinin, good doers. So the good doers should do that. So there's encouragement. We come to the ruling. Let's do a couple more ayat. وَإِن طَلَّقْتُمُوهُنَّ
وإن طلقتم
من قبل أن تمسوهن
من قبل أن تمسوهن
وقد فرضتم لهن فريضة
وقد فرضتم
وقد فرضتم لهن
لهن فريضة
فريضة. क्या वो नहीं समझ में आ रहा. وإن طلقتموهن من قبل أن تمسوهن
وإن طلقتموهن من قبل أن تمسوهن
وقد فرضتم لهن فريضة.
وقد فرضتم لهن فريضة.
وإن, and if. Yeah, وإن, and if طلقتموهن, you have divorced them. If you divorce them, then من قبل, from before أن تمسوهن, again, touch, before you touched him, before you touch them, you divorce them before touch them. وقد فرضتم لهن فريضة, and you have stipulated You have, confirmed an amount, any amount of mahr, fariḍah. If you have confirmed that for them, faradtum, you have done the fard of fariḍah. Means you have established, you have confirmed, you have stipulated, you have confirmed and agreed on a mahr. If you have agreed on the mahr, so if you divorce them before you have touched them, first scenario, same scenario, but there you have not stipulated, but you might have stipulated. In the first one, it was that you didn't touch them, and so here you touch them before you touch them, mean before you had the consummation, before you had the rukhsati, and you have already specified for them an obligation. So you divorce them without going to them. Then what? فَنِصْفُ مَا فَرَضْتُمْ إِلَّا أَن يَعْفُونَ أَوْ يَعْفُوَ الَّذِي بِيَدِهِ عُقْدَةُ النِّكَاحِ. So then nisfu, half of ma faraltum, whatever you stipulated, illa, except an ya'funa, that she forgives, she let go, she forgoes, aw ya'fu alladhi, and or the person he forgo, the person biyadihi, alladhi, the one, biyadihi, in his hands, uqdatun nikah. Uqda is the knot of nikah, means the one who can dissolve the marriage. Who can dissolve the marriage? Husband, yes. So in his hand is the uqdah. He can dissolve the nikah. If he is the one, if he decided to divorce the woman, the wife, before the consummation, just nikah done, and before rukhsati, he decides to divorce, and the dowry was stipulated, then he must give half of that. فَنِصْفُ مَا فَرَضْتُمْ, whatever was stipulated, he should give half of that. Okay? Then give half of what you specified, unless they forego the right, the ladies, they said, okay, I don't want it, the women. Or the one in whose hand is the marriage contract forgoes it. Meaning, how would he forgo? He said, I would give all of it. Obviously, he can't forgo and not give anything. He said, I'm not going to take half of them. I wouldn't keep half of that. I would give you all. If it was for £1,000, I'm giving you. But as a responsibility, he must give half of that. Not all, because they never had consummation. But you bound that girl. You kept her in your nikah, and the people knew about it. She potentially lost some of her potential husband, isn't it? If she was not engaged with you, and you did not have nikah, and you decided way before that, if she was with you, say, for a few months, for a few years, the minute they find out, oh, they've got nikah done. So no one would think about them, and she potentially lost few husbands that could have approached, few male who could have approached, or the families who could have contacted her with regards to nikah. So you actually cause her harm by that. So now you're divorcing, okay, give half of it. So at least she has something. Understand the concept. It was then when the women would not normally work. So they have not got much wealth to hand. So if you leave them like this, you might not find a suitable husband for the next 3 months, 4 months. So if given something, at least she has something to continue with her day-to-day requirement and needs met through that money, rather than she's begging or being dependent on family. Because she was supposed to be looked after by you for life. And you change your mind for whatever reason, then at least be generous enough to give that much money. وَأَن تَعْفُوا أَقْرَبُ لِلتَّقْوَى وَلَا تَنْسَوُا الْفَضْلَ بَيْنَكُمْ and if that you means that you ta'fu, again, you forgo, free, forgive, forgo. If you forgo, O men, meaning, what does that mean? How could men forgo? Give whole of it, not half. You're supposed to keep half. You are allowed to keep half and give half, but give all of it. If you do that, أقرب للتقوى. This is أقرب means closer, even closer to taqwa. This is sign of piety. You're a pious person. Meaning, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala encourages men to give all of that, to be generous and kind. This is Allah's, expectation from a righteous Muslim, the one who is. But Allah did not make it obligation, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala doesn't want to burden you on this. So give half, that is must. Other half you can keep or you can give. If you give, I'm happier. You will be closer to me, because you are more pious than the person who keeps it. Unless you are in need, so you might be in a situation where you can't afford to give. It's a big dowry, perhaps. You can only do half. Okay, give half. Okay, so Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala look after both sides. Okay, He is the creator, He is the Lord. He has to nurture everyone. Wala, and do not tansaw, do not forget. Nasiya yansa. Tansaw, do not forget. Al-fadl, generosity, extra, giving extra care. Bainakum, so do not forget the graciousness. Bainakum, among yourself. Meaning, you try to be gracious, she tries to be gracious. She said, you know what, you keep it, even that half you keep. No, please have all of it, rather. They're both trying to be closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to taqwa. So ya'fu, the word use ya'fu to cover even the payment of full dower. Perhaps it reflects the customary Arab practice of the payment of dower amount simultaneously with the marriage. If so, the husband has become, in the event of pre-consummation divorce, deserving of taking half of the dower back. Because they used to give straight at the time of nikah, before consummation, over to wife. They did the nikah, they give the dowry. So meaning you can take half of it back, or you can let it go. Okay, but obviously now in Islamic teachings, we normally give the dowry at the time of consummation. Not at the time of nikah, but rather at the time of consummation. That's the standard. That's the advice generally. So you can, at that point, you can take it back, or you can keep the half. If so, the husband has become, in the event of pre-consummation divorce, deserving of taking half of the dower back if they've given all before. If he yields voluntarily and does not take his half back, this too would virtually be an act of forgiving. And the act of forgiving has been declared more merit-worthy and closer to taqwa, because this forgiveness symbolically indicates that the severance of marriage, this nikah which has been broken now, was also done with magnanimity and good grace, which is the objective of the Sharia, and is certainly deserving of great merit. The forgiveness could come from the woman as well, and from the men it does not matter. Whoever does it, whoever tries to be generous and tries to come closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, rather than give my thing back, give my gold back, I've given you this, everything is taken as a gift that you have given. Mother-in-law said, give all the thing that I given you. You give me all the clothes or whatever, and even encouraging all the extended family to come and take this bit back. You can't do that. A gift cannot be taken back. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam likened it to the dog who vomits out and then suck it back up later on. When he's overfilled, he regurgitates it out and keep it to the side, and after a few minutes, you feel I'm hungry again, suck that back up. This is when you give gift to someone. I said, I'm not talking to you anymore, you're not my friend, give it back. Don't do that. Bad attitude.
Say in a situation where both the wife and husband are trying to forgo it, what happens then?
So it's more right of husband to do so, because wife tends to not have enough. Even if she has it, she deserves that respect. It is for her comfort. So if they both want to do it, husband must ensure that he has given. Obviously, it shouldn't be made into an argument, fighting now over this. That wouldn't happen and shouldn't happen. Be generous and kind.
Can you give it to a third person? Like they're both adamant.
Yeah, so then the qadi could come and reconcile, or the family members can come and reconcile.
For a
Yeah,
person,
yeah. Just take it. Then taking is not a bad idea. إن الله بما تعملون بصير.
إن الله بما تعملون بصير.
So indeed, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is of what you're doing, seeing. Allah is seeing everything, whatever you do. So the rulings with regards to dower and consummation. So stipulated, non-stipulated, consummated, no consummation. Divorce can be a fourth situation, as you understand. Dower, which is mahar, is fixed. Is not fixed, sorry. First condition, dower is not fixed and consummation has not taken place. The first situation. Second is fixed, but consummation has not taken place. Fixed and consummation has taken place. Dower has not been fixed, but divorce was given after consummation. Okay. So fourth situation. So what is the first situation? The Holy Quran has not fixed any amount for this gift. Your question, how much is the gift? No stipulation. However, it does indicate that the affluent rich people should give in accordance with their capacity, which carries an element of persuasion for the men of means who should not behave tight-fisted, stingy in the act of grace. They must try his best to give more. If you're rich, do it better. Don't say, I'm only going to give this much. Open your hands a bit better. So Hassan radiallahu ta'ala anhu, in this situation, he gave a gift of 20,000 dirham. 20,000 silver coins, dirham, to the divorced woman. So he divorced that, and then he just gave that much gift. This is how generous Sahaba were. Qadi Shuraih gave 500 dirhams. Abdullah ibn Abbas said that the lowest degree here is to give one set of clothes. Minimum, a dress. 2 pieces. For women, third piece could be the khimar, the shawl. So that was the first situation when there was no consummation and nothing is stipulated as a mahar. So this at least gives some gift. Second situation, when the woman's dower has been fixed before marriage and the divorce occurs before actual consummation. Fixed, but no consummation. The injunction says that the men shall be obligated to pay half of the dower already fixated. We discussed that, yeah? They have to give half of that. However, should the woman forgive or should the men pay the whole? This would be a matter of free choice. What is must is half from the men to give. For the women to half let go. She can let go all, he can give all. Both are fine, but that's choice. Third situation, dower is fixed and consummation has taken place. Here, the fixed dower will have to be paid. You have to give whole of it. You're divorcing, you must give full mahar. Dower has not been fixed. We don't know what was the amount. No fixation there, but the consummation happened. That is the normal situation. This happens a lot. And the one before that, obviously, that is the common situation. This is the situation as well, where sometimes people do not fix the dower. So then mahar misl would be applied, which is a dower as in the divorcee's family. So the ladies, the standard, the husband, their family, whatever they do, okay, what is their standard? Mother, sister, someone in the family had a specific, whatever mahar they have. So for example, in my family, I could say, perhaps minimum 1,000 at least. Some people have like 600 standard. Some have a bit more, some have a bit less. So you just take the average of that and then make it a mahar misl. The standard of the family. So some family would have like 101 pounds. Fine. That's the standard, and then that's the standard. Whatever is the standard. Yes?
In some situations, legally, it has to be the 50% mark coming into play. Obviously, it is wrong, but if the man is willingly giving that, but can he, if the assets add up to more than what his mahar is, like 50% of the mahar is, can that be counted as fulfilling the mahr? If
No,
you
sorry,
get the
say again,
contract,
say again.
after divorce due to legal processes, if it's been written in paper due to legal processes, you have to give 50% of assets to your laws.
Okay.
Divorcing.
Mhm.
So if the man's willing to do it, obviously in that case it would be halal now. So
Yeah, so you're absolutely right. That's a
so
big
would
problem
that be
there.
but would that be counted as mahr if the man's willingly giving 50%?
Yes, he can do that as well. Include that mahar as well, and the rest obviously been taken off. So yeah, he can just keep the rest. But it is not permissible for the wife or the husband, once they divorce, to claim any money on the other party. Women can only claim whatever has been mentioned, plus her maintenance for food and clothing and the accommodation during the iddah period, during the waiting period, which is 3 menses. So she's allowed to have that much support during that period. After that, she cannot, even if the law says so, it is not permissible to take that money. You have to return it back. Otherwise, you'll be returning back on the day of judgment. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, لا يحل لامرئ مال أخيه أو كما قال إلا بطيب نفسه. Something worse to the effect. For any man, it is not permissible. لا يحل مال امرئ. Any man having some other Muslims' money, except through his consent, is not permissible. If it's with his consent, it's fine. If he doesn't give the consent, that money is not halal for you. You can't claim that. Oh, because law say or whatever says, it doesn't become halal, whatever Allah has made haram.
So if the woman is like she doesn't need the money, can the man keep it himself?
Yeah, so, I mean, if she said, I don't like it, you can keep it, that's fine. She can forgive or forgo.
Is it okay to not decide the mahr before nikah?
It is preferable to decide the mahr. In fact, according to some other imam, it is must to have that at the time of nikah. And this is why we always do that, because there gets a lot of disputation, anger, and fight and arguments and altercations. So that's not good. Always do it. But in case it didn't happen, then there will always be something mahr missing. So explaining the words of the verse, in whose hand lies the marriage tie, the uqdatun nikah. The Holy Prophet ﷺ has himself said, the husband is the guardian of the bond of the marriage. He is the one who maintains the tie, meaning there is no way a woman can divorce the husband. Divorce can only happen through the husband. Now, how would woman get rid of that cruel man? She has a way out, but that is not called divorce, that is called khula. Khula is she requests husband to give divorce. If husband accepts, done. If the husband is, not giving that toll, and he's just been, so to say, oppressive, trying to cause trouble and harm, then she can go to the court, Islamic court, the Qadi, a Muslim court, Islamic court, or Islamic, organization of some sort in the West, that they can sit together, assess the case with due process. They can annul the marriage. They cannot get the khula done, but they can annul the marriage. But it has to be Islamic court or Islamic organizations or some, they call it Sharia court or Sharia based consultation from muftis.
Nullify.
They can nullify it. They can do it's called fasakh. Fasakh. But they cannot say it's divorce, although the court would use the word divorce. That doesn't happen unless and until men accepts it. Now, men accepts it because the law enforces it. That's man's choice. They say, no, you have to do it, otherwise you would give whatever penalty. And say, okay, to save me from that penalty, I sign it. That's fine, you've done it. Whether by hook or by crook, you have done it, then it's accepted. But you must either don't sign it, or don't sign it. But if you sign it, willingly or unwillingly, that's considered done. So it is important to know the khula can only happen if the wife requests and the husband accepts it. Otherwise, you can't do one-sided khula. Unfortunately, many people do it these days. It is not permissible. This law has been discussed a lot in Pakistani government as well. It doesn't work like that.
Just one question I have on Meher. So, at the time of the marriage, if the husband commits to a Meher which is way beyond what his means are, or the circumstances change later, that he can't, then is there a time period he has to pay that?
So yeah, so this is why it is not considered a good thing to keep a very high meher. Not good at all. Some, women's fathers, the bride's father, tend to do it in order to make sure that we can tie the men with this mahr, so he doesn't leave my daughter. That's not good, because if he is not interested in your daughter, why would you want him to be doing it for no reason, just for the sake of money? Then he's not going to like you. He'll be hating and then causing more trouble. If someone wants to divorce, then there must be a reason for them. Or even if it's bad reason, he's a bad person then. He doesn't love your daughter. He doesn't care for your daughter. So why you are enforcing him something, keep them tied together, only to keep fighting and having arguments? So many people do it, and that's completely silly reason. So ideally, you always do. This is why Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam in the hadith mentioned, أعظم النكاح بركة أيسره مؤنة أو كما قال أفضل النكاح بركة أيسره مؤنة. The best nikah with regards to barakah, blessing, is the one in which less expenses have been made. The less, the better. So having less wastage on food and decoration and this and that, and likewise mahar and everything. Not burdening anyone, not tying anyone against their wish. They're tying their hands against their wish. They don't want to do it, but they want to do nikah, and they realize it wasn't the right thing, and due to the mahar they cannot divorce. What's the point? So you want someone to look after your daughter, but he doesn't want to look after your daughter. So you're begging as though. You're just using force to do so. So it must come through the love. The force should be taqwa. If they do not have taqwa, then what's the point?
Someone should pay the when he is in good condition, he should pay at the same time.
So
Why
exactly.
should he keep later
To the
date,
exactly.
later date?
Most people men think that, I'm only stipulating it with no intention of paying it ever. The dowry is just to keep it. The mahar is just to keep it. And then you normally go and say, oh, forgive me, my mahar. That's very bad. That's very bad. She can do on her own. By the way, even if she has forgiven it in good days, and later on she said, I want it back, she can take it back. This is her right. She can demand that. So there's no point. Men shouldn't be. It is against manhood. It's against the manliness to, not manhood, perhaps manliness. You are asking him to, please forgive me my money, I want to keep it. That's not manly character. This proves that the authority to continue or terminate the bond of marriage rests with the husband. It is he who can pronounce talaq. The woman cannot divorce her husband. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in between brings this ayah. This talaq and nikah, all those sort of things happening at the حافظوا على الصلوات والصلاة الوسطى وقوموا لله قانتين. حافظوا. So as you're protecting your wife's dignity, your honor, everything, family, keep you can only do that if you protect your prayers. Because through prayers, you would get taqwa. You become obedient servant of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And that will help you. Allah says, Hafidhu, women, guard, ala salawat, all the prayers, guard your prayers. Maintain your prayers. Wa salatul wusta, and specifically the middle prayer. Salatul wusta. Wa qumu, and stand up lillahi for Allah, qaniteen, obediently. So you must be devoutly obedient to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Salatul wusta, a large number of scholars say it is Salatul Asr, because it goes between the two prayer on each side. Now you can say that goes with every prayer. every prayer is between two other prayers on each side, isn't it? For 5, this one is between these two. So everything would be. But Asr has a special way of being between the two prayers of each side, which is 2 day prayer, 2 night prayers between this Asr. Asr is when the day and night meet. You pray Asr, 2 day prayers, Fajr and Dhuhr, 2 night prayer, Maghrib and Isha. That only happens at dawn break when you have the Fajr, daybreak, and likewise your Dhuhr. And Asr is just at the junction, and that is where normally at the shift changes for angels to take the charge of recording their deeds. So that's the vast majority, obviously. So a lot of emphasis on this because this is a time when most people are busy with their closing day. So my business, I need to get few more people. There are few customers there, so let them complete it, and then I would run home with extra cash. So remember, the days is a trade with barter system or with whatever. So people are coming and you've got your big shop and people are coming and buying stuff. So if you go for Asr, it might just, cause you to lose few customers. So people would then be a little bit lazy about Asr prayer. So that's the encouragement to make sure that you do not qanit is the word Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala use here. It means obedient, submitting. Means stand before Allah in total devotion. This has been explained in hadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. That sukut hadith means be sakit, stationary, motionless, silence. Doing this and moving and here, that's not qanit. It was through this very, very verse that talking in salah was forbidden. Prior to that, you could speak. The Sahaba used to, so if someone is praying, someone came in the early stages of the Islamic, learning and development. So they would come and say, how many prayers? Rakat? 2 done. Means you just come and join this 3rd one. So that was then when Qumu lillahi qanitin came, no more talking in prayer. That became prohibited. Likewise, earlier talking was permissible, as I said. فَإِنْ خِفْتُمْ فَرِجَالًا أَوْ رُكْبَانًا. So if khiftum, you fear, then rijalan, on your foot. Rijal is your feet. Or rukbanan, and on your riding. Meaning, if you are really struggling with the fear, because you're in the enemy territory, you're in the battlefield, then how would you preserve your prayer? How would you protect your prayer? So Allah says, even walking or on the right with the enemy. So this is called Salatul Khawf. Salatul Khawf, the prayer of fear. And there's detailed account of that at a later time, somewhere in Surah Maida, I think. So one can offer prayer while standing, with the condition that he can stand in one place without moving and can make the gesture of sajda in the lower position, then he makes ruku. However, salah cannot be performed while walking if it is not possible to perform the prayer in the said manner, such as at the time of actual fighting, then it is permissible to delay the prayer and to offer it later as qada. Okay, so but the Salatul Khawf, will cover that later on, inshallah ta'ala. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned this here to highlight the significance of prayer. فَإِذَا أَمِنْتُمْ فاذكروا الله كما علمكم ما لم تكونوا تعلمون. فإذا, and when أمنتم, when you come to aman, when you come out of that fear, so you come in the secure place, you're peaceful now. فاذكروا, so remember Allah, then remember Allah. اذكروا الله, remember Allah, كما, like علمكم, He taught you, the way He taught you. Malam, what not takunu, you were aware. Means you were not aware of, you didn't know. Allah taught you how to do, meaning prayer, all the azkar Allah taught you. So remember Allah the way Allah taught you. At the moment you're doing standing and just bow down because the enemy is close by, or you're doing Salatul Khawf, 1 rakat and then defending and then coming back, all of that, when you are in peace, then remember Allah the way you're doing, the way He taught you. And the final couple of ayat, and then we inshallah stop it here. وَالَّذِينَ يُتَوَفَّوْنَ مِنْكُمْ وَيَذَرُونَ أَزْوَاجًا. This is talking about the people who die and they leave behind a wife. So, and those people, alladhina, those, yutawaffawna, they were being taken fully, meaning they were given the death, they died, minkum, among you, and while were yadharuna, they left behind, they leave azwajan, wives. So they left behind wives. So then what would happen? Wasiyatan li azwajihim
وصية لأزواجهم
متاعا إلى الحول غير إخراج. So for them is a will. They must, so they're dying. They know that in the last days. So for the divorce, for the widowed lady, they must do a wasiyah. That was the injunction initially. A will for their wives, mata'an, for the provision. Because what would happen? The children or the other, children from other wives, or big children, and this wife, poor one, that lady died, and this one is the younger wife but hasn't got children or small children, the senior one from the first one, they would just take and just devour everything. She would be left on her own. So you must do a wasiyah, a will for the wives, mata'an, a provision, ila al-hawl, for a year, ghayra ikhraj, with before kicking them out, expelling them out of the house. They should stay there. That was the injunction before the ayah reveal, which we did a couple of weeks ago. What was the iddah for the widowed lady? What is the iddah for the widowed lady? If someone's husband passed away, how long she needs to wait for? 4 months and 10 days. Yes. 130 days. Yeah, 4 months and 10 days. So that was that is the subsequent one, but that came in Quran earlier. And this was the first one. This was prior to that one, but this one is abrogated by that ayah because that came later, although it's in Quran, in order, in Quran, it is before this ayat, 5, 6, 7 ayat before this. You understand that? In order of revelation, this is the first ayat. In order of Mus'haf in Quran, that is prior to this one.
What's the hikmah behind
Allah knows. Why do you need to know the hikmah?
the
There is some, but we'll leave that for the time being. Because that was talking about the concept. So give the clear message first. And now going on to explain whatever happened. And there's extra benefit with this ayah. We tackle that in a minute. So before Islam, before Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam brought this Sharia, people used to, the ladies, what they would do? If you look at their iddah, the way they had to do, so once the husband died, they would be put in a room, dark room, where they would just live a whole year. They could not touch water at all. They have to stay unclean. They cannot put any perfume. They must come out after a year doing everything, whatever they're doing, so stinky that they would test. So she's having periods, she's having whatever toilet, but she can't wash herself. She can just use the normal cleaning, like in the toilet or whatever. She would be stinky to the point that they would bring her out after a year, and people are just waiting out. And she would be given the droppings of animals from the camels and sheep and goats. So she would have a bucket of that. She's throwing behind her, like she's walking and throwing behind. This is how she would get clean. And then she would take shower and put some perfume on. They would test her. Have you taken any shower? So they would bring a bird, sometimes a donkey, sometimes a small animal, and bring her close to that animal. And that animal, just by being so close to the body, die out of a stench, to prove that she was really doing proper iddah. So if you read it, so this is the Sahabiya, she's describing, what does throwing a globe of dung when 1 year has elapsed? This is Tabi, he asked Zainab, Zainab. So she said, when a lady was bereaved of her husband, she would live in a wretched small room and put on the worst clothes she had and would not touch any scent till 1 year had elapsed. Then she would bring an animal, a donkey, a sheep, or a bird, or rub her body against it. That animal would be rubbed on her body. The animal against which she would rub her body would scarcely survive. They would just die of that smell. And that, like, they get suffocated by that. Only then she would come out of her room, whereupon she would be given a globe of dung, which she would throw away, and then she would use the scent she liked or the whatever. So she would just get, come out. This, I have done my whole year worth of iddah, mourning for that man. This is how inhumane it was. And this is hadith in Sahih al-Bukhari and Muslim, and many other books as well.
It was miserable.
Not at all, obviously. It's haram. This is torture. What Islam says, though, you have got 4 months and 10 days where you do not put any extra beautification with your clothing, new clothes, taking shower every day, putting perfume on. That's not permissible. You can't put perfume. You have to be mourning the death of your husband in such a way that people do not come and get attracted to you. That's why you keep secluded. You do, in your own home, in the home of the husband, do all the bits. If you need to go out for a necessity, you can go, but not unnecessarily hoo-ha with people and shouting and meeting with people, attending all those, parties. That's not on. Because this is mourning. You must be seen as doing the iddah. And people do not come and propose you. Otherwise, you keep showing all your, styles and beautification, then people would propose you.
So you have to live
No, 4 months and 10 days. It has cut down from a whole year to roughly 4 months, a third, isn't it? Easier, relatively. And not as painful. And if there was a need for you to go to hospital for, even if the lady needed to do some work because there's no one else to look after, she can, during the daylight, go out, properly covered, do the job and come back. Just by night time, she must be at home. Because then people can blame her. God forbid if she becomes pregnant, and that was with the husband who passed away. People would say, but you were going out. Perhaps you've gone to some men. You're a bad girl. So how would you defend yourself? Obviously, in those days especially, there's no DNA test, but that's out of question. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protected the women and gave them some support there. So because roughly, at the most, if someone could get pregnant, it would be 4 months and 10 days. Okay, so if that happened, so at least she knows and no one would blame. You said, I was properly indoors and I didn't go out with anyone, so I'm all covered. Nice. Alhamdulillah. No one blame her for that. فَإِنْ خَرَجْنَ فَلَا جُنَاحَ عَلَيْكُمْ فيما فعلن في أنفسهن من معروف فإن and if خرجنا they leave فلا جناح عليكم, so no sin, no blame upon you, فيما فعلن, for whatever they do في أنفسهن, about themselves, من معروف, from the norms, from the honorably, whatever they do honorably. But if they leave of their own accord, then there is no blame upon you for what they do with themselves in an acceptable way. Meaning, you don't have to be staying in your house for a whole year. If they decide to leave, they can leave. After iddah, they can leave. Wallahu azizun hakim. And Allah is almighty and wise. وَلِلْمُطَلَّقَاتِ مَتَاعٌ بِالْمَعْرُوفِ حَقًّا عَلَى الْمُتَّقِينَ. And for the divorce, مَتَاعٌ, a provision in fairness, بِالْمَعْرُوفِ حَقًّا عَلَى الْمُتَّقِينَ. This is a duty upon pious people, meaning that for the divorced women, there is a provision according to what is acceptable, a duty upon the righteous one, and that mata' could be either dower or could be extra clothing. It could be a benefit of some sort, but they must try to make sure that they've been given some maintenance during the iddah period. So all that is to facilitate her transition from being with the husband and now separate life Obviously, she needs some support. So in the 3-month period, someone would be able to, of 4 months, 10 days, there will be someone to help from the extended family. So they've got some time to support her. So this is how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala would want. كَذَلِكَ يُبَيِّنُ اللَّهُ لَكُمْ آيَاتِهِ لَعَلَّكُمْ تَعْقِلُونَ. Like that, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala makes it clear, his ayat, his verses. Perhaps you may take some intellect. You may use your intellect. You become wise. There is wisdom behind all of that. So understand that and trust Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that Allah does the best for you. May Allah give us tawfiq. أقول قولي هذا واستغفر الله لي ولكم ولسائر المسلمين. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.